Hey guys, this video is really going to be for me, working through some things, and in it being for me, I hope that it can also be for you if you're going through a similar experience. I've been feeling a lot of heaviness, like tiredness, just needing to just rest almost constantly. Um, And I feel like a lot of things are happening, and I can kind of see this going around with clients, with other YouTubers. And sometimes it's easy for me to forget we're even in winter and we're in the shortest days of the year and we're in hibernation mode. I mean, it's like 65, 70 degrees out every day here. I'm basically in short sleeves around the clock. So sometimes I forget, hey, it's literally the shortest days of the year. It's hibernation time. It's deep rest time. It's a time for going inwards. Usually I have snow and freezing cold weather to remind me of this. So that's the first thing I want to kind of just put out there. When you're in a desert, it's a little it feels a little different this time of year, to say the least. The main point here that I want to make is I really feel what's happening is we are all mourning our old selves. We're all evolving and growing so quickly that it can be easy to forget that there are old parts of us that are dying left and right, that are just falling away. And we have to release these old parts. We have to feel through them. We have to meet them with love. We have to acknowledge them. We have to thank them for their service. We have to make it a priority to give ourselves the space and the time to be with these parts of ourselves. And this time of year is a perfect time for that, and I think that's why everything works so harmonically, and everything works in perfect synchronization, to where this time of year is where we are shedding the old, is where we are letting go of old patterns, old behaviors, old things we picked up from childhood that just we've outgrown. But we're going to feel these aspects of ourselves come up, and they're going to feel sad. They're going to feel defeated. They're going to feel just heavy, depressed. We're going to feel lethargic. We're not going to be able to do much because these parts are really coming up to be seen, to be released. And so that's the thing, that's the main point here. I think that's really happening. We're all growing so fast, and it's so easy I know I just want to blast into my new self, my new embodied self, and just be that 24/7. It's like we get little tastes of it, right? We get little previews of who we're becoming, this embodied divine being. And for me, I get a preview, and I'm just like, I'm ready to go. It's like, let's just, I'm all in. Like, I want to be that in every moment. But then those old parts come up, and I tend to get a little impatient. I tend to want to rush the process. But that doesn't help. It just makes it a little more difficult than it should. I've noticed when I do let go into the process and I rest, and I do hold space for these parts of me without rushing them out the door, when I'm truly honoring them and thanking them and just meeting them with love, I notice how I feel so much more support in those times, how I feel just so held, how I feel like I'm able to let go of needing to, go do everything I want to do in that embodied state that we're all moving towards and that we're getting previews of. So I've noticed that that's a big part of this, is like, for me, you might relate to this, is learning how to take my time in giving these parts of myself like this space, to creating this sacred space where I really honor them, where I really fully mourn them. And yeah, and that's basically what I wrote down there, is just, I tend to really want to just be that new embodied, like we can feel like this newer self being activated, right? It's more powerful. It's more confident. It feels more connected. And I think we get tastes of this, and it's hard to surrender, not clinging to that. It's hard to let go of trying to become attached to that, and knowing like this is a process, this is an ebb and a flow. And for there to be that rebirth, for it to be full, for it to be real, for it to be actually embodied, there has to be the death. There has to be the process of the dying away that needs to take place. And that's a big point. And one thing I wrote down, I think this is such an important point, is when we start making different choices than we normally would, that's when we know things within us are dying. And I'm feeling that for myself. It's like this old part, this old childhood wound, this old kind of needy, codependent part that usually that always wants to reach for things like for someone to save it, for just like, it kind of takes this shape. I've noticed in the past, I would just kind of give into that. I would yield to it. And I would act out that old pattern I learned from childhood. It's kind of, I've been learning a lot about adult children who are raised by emotionally immature parents, and just seeing like a lot of these childhood behaviors that I've taken into adulthood. Infantilism is a word that comes to mind. Just some neediness, some codependency, and how my growth was stunted in a lot of ways, and how I kept clinging to these old patterns because they were safe, they were what I knew. And how this time around, like here in Arizona, I'm letting these parts come up, these childlike parts, like the man-child, you could say. That's a good phrase that Carl Jung made for it. And I'm letting the man-child kind of like do his little dance, like I need to do that kind of thing. And I'm actually just staying right here this time, and I'm saying, hey, I love you so much. Everything you need is right here. I got you. We don't need to run to that person anymore. We don't need to run to that circumstance. We don't need to cling to that old pattern. We don't need to take that loop again. And I've noticed as I'm making different choices, like the same feelings and sensations are coming up in my body, but I'm making different choices now. I'm making choices from you could say, a more mature and a more embodied perspective. That's when I felt these parts really start dying. Because when we just go with those parts, when we enmesh with those parts, and we let them persuade us and pull us into that old pattern, there's not a lot of death taking place. It's like, yep, same old thing, same old thing, same old way of being. But when they come up and we lovingly say, no, not this time. I know where that leads. I want to feel something new. I want to experience something new. I want to experience all of myself. I want to know myself as more powerful, more loving, more capable, more mature, more embodied in the masculine and the feminine, so that I can be of greater service ultimately to the one. That's when you'll start to feel them come up, and you don't act out what they want you to do. You don't let them pull you. You just love them. You meet them, and you'll feel so much light, getting flooded with light as I say that. So many goosebumps as I say that. You're going to feel so much light as you let these childlike patterns and parts of you come up and throw their tantrums and take those needy, codependent shapes. You're going to feel all the light that you could possibly imagine just flooding into those places, and giving them this like really proper send off like this. They're gonna you could say they just come up and dissolve into love, or they die into the light, however you want to feel into it. It's just like the light bringing all those parts of you home, and all you have to do is you just have to be here, rooted, and make a different choice, and know you will be supported. And that I'm being told to say, and the light has your back. The light loves you. And to trust this process. Trust that if you're feeling tired, if you're feeling depleted, if you're feeling drained, it's just a lot of death happening. I think we all can relate. We're making new choices. We're going into the unknown like we've never done before, whether we like it or not. And for me, it seems like I don't even have it's funny to say, I don't even have a choice to make these new choices. They're just happening through me. It's like I can't even do the old pattern anymore. There's too much divinity now birthing within us to let us do that. It's like we have to go into the unknown. We have to let go. We have to trust. We have to learn to be okay with death. And so your tiredness, your lethargy, your depression, your fatigue, the exhaustion, it's all beautiful. This is all part of this process. It's like, the chrysalis, how a caterpillar becomes a butterfly. And let's just remember, it's this time of year, this is what's happening. And to flow with it the best you can. For me, my knees have been hurting so bad, I literally can barely walk today. It's like life was saying, stop trying to move forward so fast. Halt and hold space for what's dying, for what's falling away. And that's my message to all of you right now. Halt and hold space. And love and mourn the parts of you that are falling away, that once served you. Honor them. Create a sacred space for them. Candles. Anything you need. Anything those parts need to feel safe enough to come up and to be released. You're all doing such amazing work. I'm so honored to be on this path with you guys. I'm going to put a link below if you guys feel inspired to support this work. The best way you can do it is by joining the Patreon family. It's such a heart-opening experience. I really hope the exchange is very nourishing for you and it feels very good to you. I post exclusive content out there. I feel like most of my content is headed in that direction. The spirit has been just pouring so much energy into that page, and I would really love and be honored to connect with all of you on it. I welcome all of you to sign up. It would mean so much to me, and I really, really hope that if you do sign up, that the Patreon family provides you support and you guidance for your awakening. So other than that, so much love to you all. Hang in there, and keep being gentle with yourself. Keep being kind to yourself. We got this. Much love.